Forget Paris, Milan, or New York. What if the biggest fashion event of 2026 is happening on a strip of grass running from Mexico City to Toronto to Los Angeles, broadcast to 6 billion people across 39 days? That's exactly what's unfolding right now. The 2026 World Cup is projected to rack up nearly 6 billion global engagements across 3 host countries and 48 teams, becoming the most watched cultural event in human history. It dwarfs the Oscars. It buries Fashion Week. It's bigger than anything the traditional runway has ever produced. Almost every player walking through those tunnels wears a major luxury house. Spain wears Loewe. France wears Jacquemus. The USA wears Boss alongside pieces from Virgil Abloh's archive. Argentina wears Kith and Adidas, with Messi himself at the design table. These 4-year contracts run into the millions. The wardrobes will carry teams all the way to the 2030 tournament. The same conglomerates behind Dior and Louis Vuitton have quietly swallowed the working-class jersey, the $40 polo, the terrace uniform passed down for generations. All of it has mutated. Today we're stepping away from our regular brand deep dives. We're unpacking the biggest cultural moment of the year, the tournament that turned a sport into a billion-dollar runway and a grass pitch into a live fashion broadcast. The real question isn't who lifts the trophy in July. The question is, which luxury conglomerate has already won the financial statement before the first whistle blows? We're breaking down how the most working-class sport on the planet became the most expensive showroom the luxury sector has ever built. We're back to the regular format next Saturday. For now, these are the 5 strategic moves driving the operation. The tournament's setup tells you everything. This June, 48 national teams touched down in North America. Long before the first whistle blew, the cameras were already flashing. They step off buses, they walk through hotel lobbies, they cross stadium tunnels while broadcast feeds beam every single step to billions of viewers. The luxury houses figured this out years ago. Every frame is a live fashion editorial. So instead of leaving the off-pitch wardrobe to standard sportswear sponsors, the conglomerates moved in. 4 nations stand out, each bringing its own design grammar. The goal underneath is identical. Start with Spain, who partnered with Loewe. Creative directors Jack McCullough and Lázaro Hernandez took over the house earlier this year and designed the official off-pitch wardrobe. The hero look anchors on a bright blue polo under a relaxed, single-breasted navy jacket, paired with wide-cut trousers. The Spanish Federation emblem sits stitched onto the chest. A terracotta Loewe anagram hides inside the sleeve, only showing itself when the cuff turns. The deal runs all the way to the 2030 World Cup. That means dressing the Spanish national team for 4 straight years and milking every camera appearance they make. This is way past traditional sponsorship. This is a global brand campaign with half the planet as its built-in audience. France went louder. Simone Porte Jacquemus built a striking pre-match capsule under Nike's X2 program, the initiative that lets designers reimagine a team's off-pitch identity from the ground up. He anchored the collection in classic Le Bleu navy, then cut through it with red and white vertical pinstripes as a sharp tribute to the French tricolore. The entire line traces back to an old navy Nike tracksuit Jacquemus wore as a kid. The real hero piece sits at the feet. The Nike Cryo Shot pulls Ronaldinho's iconic 2005 Tiempo R10 silhouette into 2026 and restyles it for a Parisian summer. The French squad is wearing a southern French designer's childhood memories. That's the level of storytelling we're dealing with. The USA went in 2 directions at once. Boss handles the formal moments, dressing head coach Mauricio Pochettino and the entire squad. We're talking relaxed overshirts, unconstructed jackets, wide-leg trousers, all cut from something called Performance Air Wool. It's exactly what it sounds like. Sharp, breathable corporate luxury. Then there's the other face, the VAA by Nike capsule, pulled straight out of Virgil Abloh's archive. It runs a crisp white base, a blue polo collar, aggressive navy and red horizontal bands across the chest. Football America graphics finish the kit, paired with its own custom cryo shot. One squad, two wardrobes. Boardroom luxury on one side, streetwear archive on the other. America gets to play both versions of itself at once. Argentina is where things get personal. Over the past year, Ronnie Fieg, Kith, and Lionel Messi have been quietly building a massive three-way collaboration with Adidas. The project does double duty. It celebrates Kith's 15th anniversary as a brand and marks Messi's 20th year competing at a World Cup. The centerpiece is a reworked blue and white jersey leaning hard into 2006 nostalgia and stamped with Messi's personal M crest. The collection stretches way past standard performance gear. Washed denim sets, wool tracksuits, tailored suiting, plus footwear that runs from soccer-paneled Ultra Boosts and Predators to the Mega Ride. This isn't a national kit. It's a wearable career retrospective. And the biggest export in Argentine history is sitting right there at the design table, signing off on every fabric weight. 4 distinct design grammars that have already generated thousands of photographs in the tournament's opening days. The World Cup is barely underway. The luxury showroom is already wide open. Before we get into how all of this started, I want to know which one of these actually lands for you. Spain's quiet Loewe restraint? France leaning on Jacquemus nostalgia? America playing both sides at once? Or Messi literally sitting at the Kith design table? There's a clear winner in my head, but I'm curious where you land. This shift didn't happen overnight. Loewe didn't wake up one morning and decide to outfit Spain. Jacquemus didn't pitch Nike on a Monday and deliver a capsule by Friday. Something had to break at the club level first, years before any national federation thought about signing a luxury contract. Between 2021 and 2022, 4 major European football clubs quietly pushed the door open. They signed deals with serious fashion houses, and instead of using the word sponsorship, they tossed around terms like partner, curator, and creative director. They drafted the exact blueprint the 2026 World Cup is now copying line for line. Paris is where it all started. PSG officially signed with Dior in 2021. Kim Jones, then running the men's house, turned every player in that locker room into an haute couture model. We're talking handmade Dior Explorer derbies, cashmere coats tailored for athletic frames, iconic saddlebags slung over shoulders as the squad walked into the Parc des Princes. For a maison that had spent decades dressing CEOs and actresses, this was Dior's first step into the football world. PSG players didn't walk down a concrete tunnel anymore. They walked a runway designed by Kim Jones, packed right into their kit bags. Then came 2022. AC Milan announced Off-White as their official style and culture curator. Not a sponsor, but a curator. That specific wording mattered. Every jacket carried a small red tag stitched into the left cuff, reading, "I support sport for change." That phrase wasn't just decoration. It was a direct continuation of the I Support campaign Virgil Abloh launched before he passed. Milan agreed to carry that exact message inside their formal tailoring for the entire season. A bold statement of conscience hidden under a sleeve, walking the tunnels of the San Siro every match. Football, fashion, and a cultural mission, all in one cuff. That same year, Real Madrid signed with Zegna. Alessandro Sartori designed the squad's off-pitch wardrobe, blending refined luxury with a sporty edge. The collection featured overshirts with a double-stripe graphic borrowed from Oasi Zegna's Route 232, jogger bottoms cut from soft Italian wool, and the brand's suede triple-stitch sneakers on their feet. This wasn't streetwear pretending to be tailoring. It was traditional tailoring redesigned to move like sportswear. Every player walking out of the Bernabeu, from Jude Bellingham to Vinicius Jr., became a walking billboard for Zegna's vision of modern Italian elegance, athletic, sharp, and quiet. Then you have Juventus, who signed Loewe in 2021. A heritage brand that famously avoids visible labels suddenly agreed to outfit a football team. They delivered Kummel polo shirts, Tasmania wool pier Luigi suits, and cashmere silk sweater jackets. No visible logos, just pure fabric and pure cut. Loewe's first real venture into football set the template for how quiet luxury could operate inside a sport. The old money aesthetic landed on a team famous for blue-collar grit, and the contrast worked. Juventus players walked through arrival corridors looking less like a football team in Turin and more like executives stepping into a Milanese board meeting. 4 distinct clubs, 4 major fashion houses, 4 very different ideas of what football tailoring could be. Paris went couture, Milan chose conscience, Madrid leaned into refined sport, Turin stayed silent, and every national federation watching took notes. By 2025, these conversations had leveled up. The exact playbook tested at the club level was rolling out onto the international stage. Once a brand like Loewe proves it can flawlessly dress 11 athletes for an entire season, outfitting a national team for a summer tournament is just the logical next step. The blueprint was already written. The 2026 World Cup is the massive production run. Not every luxury house plays inside the official lines of this tournament. FIFA demands enormous sums just for basic partnership rights. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars just to be called a sponsor, to stamp your logo on a stadium board, or to get anywhere near the actual trophy. A few brands took one look at that astronomical price tag and decided to do something much smarter. They never paid FIFA or a national federation a single dollar. They showed up around the edges of the tournament, hijacked the spotlight, and walked away. The official sponsors got the expensive contracts. The unofficial ones stole the conversation. The cleanest example sits inside LVMH. As we covered, France's official off-pitch partner for 2026 is Jacquemus by Nike. For every press event, every tunnel walk, every photographed moment between matches, a label inside that exact same conglomerate dresses the national team. Except there's a massive catch. French captain Kylian Mbappé has been Dior's global ambassador since December 2021. Dior's new creative director Jonathan Anderson built a tailor-made campaign around him heading into this summer. So the single most photographed face on the French squad is wearing 2 competing houses at the exact same time. Read that setup slowly. One LVMH-owned house is dressing the entire French squad. Another LVMH-owned house owns the individual superstar carrying that squad. Both houses sit in the exact same financial ecosystem and share a parent company, competing for the exact same eyeballs during this massive 6-week window. Both streams feed profits right back into the same family in Paris. This isn't a corporate mistake. This is the entire strategy. LVMH flawlessly covered both sides of the bet. If Jacquemus by Nike dominates team coverage, LVMH wins. If Mbappé dominates individual coverage, LVMH still wins. The conglomerate is already wearing both jerseys. It cannot lose. This is exactly how the biggest fashion holding company on earth plays the game. Then you have the Burberry move, which is honestly a masterclass. Burberry holds no official FIFA partnership. They haven't paid a federation or signed a national team. Legally, they aren't even allowed to use the World Cup logo, the trophy, or a single official tournament trademark. So just in time for the tournament, they dropped an independent campaign called A Good Sport. The campaign runs on pure British terrace culture. Harrington jackets, lightweight trench coats, house-check scarves casually slung around shoulders. This is the exact wardrobe English football fans have worn for 40 years. Burberry didn't even have to invent the connection. It was already sitting in their archive, waiting for a moment exactly like this. The casting is what really sells it. Real footballers from across the men's and women's games show up on screen. Declan Rice, Ebereki Eze, Leah Williamson, Naomi Girma, Sun Heung-min. Cultural heavyweights stand next to them. Jason Sudeikis, Stephen Graham, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Sport and culture in a single frame. Block Party's banquet runs underneath the edit. Burberry drops the campaign at the exact moment the entire world is looking at football. They never mention FIFA, never say the words World Cup, never cross a single legal line. Every magazine covering the tournament ends up covering Burberry right alongside it. Zero sponsorship fees paid, maximum cultural penetration. This is the guerrilla layer of the industry, the shadow tournament playing out right alongside the real one. LVMH plays both sides of the exact same federation, while Burberry steals the oxygen from sponsors who paid hundreds of millions for the privilege. None of it is illegal. All of it is brilliant. In luxury fashion, the loudest move isn't always the official one. Sometimes the real winner is the brand that never signed a contract. Forget the players for a second and look at who's spending the real money on football today. It's no longer just kids collecting jerseys or guys watching games at the local pub. The biggest new consumer of football culture is a 20-something woman who's never watched a full 90-minute match in her life. Instead, she's pairing a baggy nylon track jacket with a satin slip dress, or rocking a vintage Inter Milan jersey over a tight corset with knee-high socks and stilettos. The whole vibe has an official name now: Soccercore, mixed with the WAG aesthetic. It uses classic football elements and styles them to look exactly like a 2003 paparazzi photo. The blueprint is Victoria Beckham. Picture the years when David played for Real Madrid and Manchester United. Victoria walked out of airports in low-rise jeans, giant sunglasses, a tiny purse swinging from her wrist. That aesthetic turned into a core memory, then a viral meme. And now it's a working design brief for major brands. The Meow X Adidas Originals SS26 collection is the cleanest example. Designer Alexia El Kaim centered the entire line around football imagery flipped for women. The line features nylon tracksuit pants tailored for a model's silhouette, a Meow sport jersey, Mega Ride sneakers, and a corset with elastic laces that tie up just like a soccer boot. They even shot the campaign to look like grainy, real-life paparazzi photos, casting Alison Doobie and Arsenal's Riccardo Calafiori as a modern-day Posh and Becks. The blurry shots and messy lighting mimic the exact vibe that filled early 2000s gossip magazines. The only twist is that the brand itself is staging the paparazzi photos. Indie labels are jumping on the same trend. Take Coco Culture. They source vintage soccer jerseys, chop them up, and piece them back together into mini dresses. A 2002 Brazil top becomes a tight bodycon dress. A 1998 France shirt turns into clubwear. Nobody's wearing these jerseys for sports anymore. They're fashion now. Nike's been watching closely. Years back, they bet that soccer fandom would bleed into mainstream pop culture. Their 2026 World Cup campaign, Nike Family, proves they called it right. It features over 40 massive celebrities, putting Cristiano Ronaldo and Mbappe in the same frames as Kim Kardashian. I'm watching some of you nod along and others wondering when football turned into a costume. Honestly, both reactions make sense to me. If you have a take on this either way, the comments are open. In the ad, Kardashian holds up a license plate that reads SCCR-M0M. Nike turned her into the ultimate soccer mom, using her star power to plant the sport directly into mainstream American life. She shares the frame with Central C, Travis Scott, Puerto Rican rapper Young Miko, and Blackpink's Lisa. Nike isn't pitching a sport here. They're marketing soccer as a complete lifestyle brand. A soccer jersey used to be fan gear you bought to support your team. Now it's a daily wardrobe staple. Retailers sell it right next to high-end denim. Stylists layer it under sharp blazers. You spot it on streets from Brooklyn to Tokyo. A replica team shirt holds the same spot in a Gen Z closet that a vintage band tee did 10 years ago. Street fashion used to run on the model off-duty look. Think white sneakers, an oversized blazer, a coffee in hand. Now the internet is obsessed with soccer player off-duty. It's all about high-pulled socks, baggy mid-thigh shorts, and a loose jersey draped over a tank top. TikTok is breaking down this exact silhouette frame by frame. Soccer used to be something you just watched on TV. Now it's a wardrobe you can wear. A woman who couldn't identify a team's jersey 5 years ago is hunting down a vintage Argentina shirt because the colors match her mega-ride sneakers. The fashion landscape shifted beneath our feet, and most people haven't even realized it yet. Watch the players walk from the team bus to the locker room. It's a short 40-foot corridor that takes maybe 90 seconds to cross, and it's one of the most watched 90-second windows in sports. That short walk has a name now: the tunnel walk. 5 years ago, nobody bothered to film it. Today, every major luxury house has a content team breaking it down: what he's wearing, who designed it, what it costs. The shoes, the bag, the watch, the cut of the pants. All of it hits social media before he steps onto the field. It wasn't some master plan. Networks and clubs finally realized something obvious. The audience wasn't tuning in just for the match anymore. They were tuning in for the entrance. So networks started lighting up the tunnel like a runway, with multiple camera angles, slow-motion replays, branded backdrops behind each player. Once those cameras showed up, the luxury houses swooped in. A soccer player crossing a tunnel in a tailored Loro Piana suit instantly became free advertising worth way more than any traditional ad campaign. Tunnel outfits stopped being personal style choices. They became fully curated looks, hand-picked by brand marketing teams the way they style a Hollywood red carpet. The players caught on to this before anyone else did. Endorsement deals weren't about throwing on clothes anymore. It was about the visibility their bodies and personal brands generated. The smartest athletes quickly transitioned from brand ambassadors to actual co-designers. David Beckham did this first on the biggest scale. Boss appointed him their creative style director. He's not a face or a runway model. He's a director with creative input on the collections. The Beckham by Boss SS25 and SS26 lines prove it. Beckham sits in the fittings and approves the specific cuts. His name lands on the label because he designed what's on it. Vinicius Jr. chose a different route. He partnered with Havaianas for a capsule built around a childhood memory in São Gonçalo. The image of a kid in the favela using flip-flops as makeshift goalposts. The collection turned that memory into a product line with limited edition drops and specific colors. It's rooted in where he came from, not just where he plays now. This is the blueprint for the new player contract. The athlete doesn't just rent out his face anymore. He brings his personal story, his cultural references, his childhood memories to the table. The brand pays for direct access to that narrative, then builds a custom product. Beckham brings English tailoring heritage. Vinicius delivers Brazilian street culture. Both become true design partners, not human billboards. TikTok now drives the content ecosystem powering this trend. FIFA officially named the platform its first ever preferred platform partner for 2026. Everything from press conferences to broadcast clips runs directly through TikTok's cultural hub. Tunnel walks, outfit breakdowns, and high-end luxury content all live in the exact same feed as the actual sport. A fan opens TikTok. They scroll past a clip of Lionel Messi's tunnel walk, into a Kim Jones runway show, then a Burberry campaign trailer, then a highlight goal from last night's game. Soccer and fashion no longer split into separate media channels. They share the same feed, the same algorithm, the same 15-second attention span. When a player steps off the bus in Toronto this summer, he isn't an athlete showing up for a match. He's a runway model walking straight into a billion-dollar broadcast. Within 10 minutes, the internet will photograph his outfit, break it down, price it out, tag it online. The locker room used to be where the game kicked off. Now it's the finish line. The real performance starts the moment he gets off the bus. Let's connect the dots. The 2026 World Cup just kicked off, and luxury fashion has already won. Spain belongs to Loewe. France belongs to Jacquemus. Mbappe belongs to Dior. The USA wears Boss in the press room, and Virgil Abloh's archive on the street. Argentina steps out in Kith. Tunnels are runways, jerseys are everyday wardrobe pieces, and the players themselves are the designers. We're talking 6 billion engagements across 39 days, easily the biggest cultural event in human history. Meanwhile, the giant conglomerates that own Dior, Louis Vuitton, Loro Piana, and Zegna have just built one of the largest showrooms they've ever operated. None of this requires a stadium billboard. None of it requires an official partnership. It just requires the cameras to roll. We're talking 6 billion engagements across 39 days, easily the biggest cultural event in human history. Meanwhile, the giant conglomerates that own Dior, Louis Vuitton, Loro Piana, and Zegna have just built one of the largest showrooms they've ever operated. None of this requires a stadium billboard. None of it requires an official partnership. It just requires the cameras to roll. That's going to do it for this special video. Next Saturday, we're heading right back to our regular ModeVault format with a full brand deep dive, picking up exactly where we left off. See you then.